Hi, today we're going to talk about filters, pipes, and redirection. Filters will be commands like head, tail, sort, unique, cut, WC for word count, and grep. What filters do is they take input either from the keyboard or from a file, and they filter that to make it meaningful. For example, when we use the sort command, it uses data from this file and sorts it, so it's filtering the data. Similarly, cut will take information from this file and cut specific fields or characters. We will also talk about pipes and see when and why we use those. We will look at the T command, grep command, as well as we will look at input and output redirection, and finally the here documents. So let's take a look. So let's look at the filter command first. So we'll do some sorting, cutting, and so on. So I'm going to log into the Linux server, the matrix. Let me see where I am. I'm in my directory called mydir inside my account. All right. So if I look at what I have here, I have a bunch of files that I've downloaded and some that I've created, so that I can demonstrate to you some of the filter commands. So let me take some simple files, like let's say I'm taking this Ontario. This is a data set I downloaded. It has Ontario 2016 census, and I just took a subset of that. So let's take a look. If I cat this, it's got Ontario CSV, and it's going to show me so many different lines, and basically this data is a part of the census where it's looking at the immigrants and their place of birth. So the first thing here is that it's immigrant data. Second field is that it's the country, then some kind of total, and how many males and how many females have immigrated from there in that particular year. So regardless of what the data is, this is a comma delimited data, and it's a very common way in which data is presented or data is stored. So let's say we want this sorted, because right now it's not sorted. So you'll see that the country is in all different orders. So if we wanted to sort this, we can simply say sort, and we will give the file name. So in this case, that's the file we're talking about. So now it's sorted in a particular order and in the ASCII collating sequence. So your ABCD will be at the top, and the last part of the alphabet will come at the bottom. Now let's say we wanted to sort it in reverse order. We can repeat the same command, but instead of just saying sort, we can say -R. So we're using the option -R to sort in reverse. And now when I hit enter, notice that ABC will come at the bottom. Let's try another filter command, a cut command. So cut is really useful when you have something like this, where there's comma delimited data. And here, let's say we wanted to extract the country. We can do that by using the cut command. So in the cut command, we can say cut. And now, which field do we need? So think of this as columns in an Excel spreadsheet. So this is one column, this is the second column. When it's stored in this format, these are all referred to as fields. So it's really the second field, or if you want to think in terms of Excel spreadsheet, then this is the second column. All right, so we need to tell the cut command which field we're talking about. So -F is how we indicate field. And if I want the second field, I'm going to say 2. Now the next thing, of course, it needs to know is, how does it know where one field is ending and the next one is beginning? Comma is how it finds that out. So we need to say that the delimiter is a comma. So -D and then in double quotations we're going to put what that delimiter is. So it's going to look for the comma and say that's the end of the first field, and it will use this as the second field. So we've told it what field to cut, we've told it how to determine based on the delimiter, and now of course we need to say what is the file we're talking about. So in this case the file is this Ontario census. All right. So now that we have all those components, I'm going to hit enter, and notice that the only thing it picks up is the one field which indicates the country of origin. We can do the same thing and extract more than one fields. So maybe we want the second field as well. So we go back here, so 2, but we also want, let's say, the fifth field. Now, when we hit enter, it's picking up the country and whatever was in the fifth field. So if we go back here and we cat that file, the fifth field, so that's first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So this last number here is the fifth field, and that's the number of females that immigrated from that country. So if we go back again here, so this means from Japan, 5,585 females immigrated in that year. What if we wanted to combine more than one things? So we can use the pipe command to do more. For example, let's say it's well and good that we're cutting all this information, but we want this sorted now by country. So as soon as it finishes cutting it, instead of displaying the result on the screen, which is what we did right now, we can pipe it through another command. So the symbol that we use for piping is this one here. And then when we pipe, we're taking whatever output was going to come from this command is being used as input into the next command. So since I'm piping it into the sort, it's instead of showing the output on the screen, it's going to put it into the next command I have, which is the sort. So now when I hit enter, look what happens. All of the countries are now sorted, right? So from this command, it cut the fields and then it sorted them before it gives you the output. We can use multiple pipes if we wanted to. So let's say, for example, maybe we want to find out the number of people from Poland. So we can pipe this into another command called grep. Grep is used for pattern finding. So I can say look for, so when you say grep, you're saying look for this pattern. So we're going to do a very simple example. So we'll say Poland is what we're looking for. So I'm going to say Poland within double quotes. So now it's going to do the cut, it's going to sort it, and then it's going to send it into the grep command and only show you where it says Poland. So it only picked this one line because that's the only line which has the matching pattern. Let's look at another example. So I'm going to go back here, and when it cuts all of this information, let's say we wanted to translate all the lowercase into uppercase. To do that, we can pipe this into a tr command. Tr says translate. So we can do a number of things to translate from one set of characters to another set of characters. In this case, I'm going to say take all the lowercase letters and make them uppercase. So instead of showing the result here, it's going to pipe it or send it as input into the tr command to translate all lowercase into all uppercase. So when I hit enter now, you notice that everything has now become uppercase. Let's look at another example where I'm going to use the first filter command as the head. So I'm saying look at the first 10 lines, so -10, and now I'm going to put the name of the file, And I'm going to pipe this into the cut command. Now, if I'm already putting the file name here, then of course, as you know, I don't need to put the file name again here. So I'm going to take that out. So it's going to take the first 10 lines from this file. That will be sent into the next command, which will cut fields 2 and 5, and then it'll be sent into the next command through the pipe so that it translates all the lowercase into the uppercase. So if you look now, it only picked the first 10 lines, picked these 2 fields only, and then translated all the lowercase into uppercase. So here's a case where we've used multiple pipes to achieve the result that we're hoping for. This brings us to look at a little more detail with the tr command. So the tr command is a little bit different in that if I repeat this and I'm saying translate all the lowercase into uppercase, normally in a command we would simply put the file name here, right? So if I say this looks legitimate, I'm saying translate lowercase into uppercase, and that's the file. But there's a problem. When I hit enter, it gives me an error message. And the problem is because tr command is an exceptional command where it requires a sign of input redirection before it'll take input from this file. It's a little confusing, but let me explain. So here we go. I need to do this. This less than sign is an input redirection, and what it's saying is that this command should take input from this file. So you almost never need to use it with a couple of exceptions, and tr command is one such exception. Now it has no problem, and it did what it's asked to do. It took everything that is in this file and it turned everything from lowercase to uppercase. So the other way this could be done is I could maybe cat the file, and after I cat it, I can pipe it into the tr. Now, because the tr command is already getting the result from the previous command, it doesn't need to have the file. So we don't need to input redirect, we don't need to give the file name, so then it looks like a regular command. So now it's done the same thing, but we first did a cat and we sent that output as input into the tr command. Mail is another command which will do the exact same thing. It'll require this input redirection. The other thing is what's called a output redirection. What that means is normally whatever you do, the output goes on the screen, right? I do ls, it shows me what's there, and where is the output going? It's going on the screen. So that's the default. Output goes to the screen by default. But what if I wanted to capture this information into a file? So instead of the output coming on the screen, I want it going in a file. That is where output redirection comes. So instead of hitting enter, I'm going to use the greater than symbol, which says this is the output redirection symbol. So it says take the output that was normally going to go on the screen and let's put it in a file. So of course I need to give it this file name. So I'm just going to call it file A. Now you don't see anything on the screen. Why? Because it went into this file. How can I look at what's in that file? I can cat file A, and I can see that all of the files that it was listing here actually went inside this file. So output redirection is helpful when you want to capture the output. For example, remember when we were taking the first few lines with the head command here? So with this, we were getting these 10 lines. Everything was translated from lowercase to uppercase. If I wanted to capture this into a file, then I would repeat this command, and then I would capture it and say put it inside a certain file. So nothing comes on the screen. And where has it gone? It's gone inside file A. That's where it went. So output redirection can take anything and put that into a file. If I go back here, let's say I don't want to translate it. I can take this part out. And so what it's doing now is taking the first 10 lines from this file, cutting these two fields, using comma as a delimiter, and then it simply puts that result through output redirection into this file. So when I hit enter, I'm going to see nothing on the screen because it's gone inside file A. If I cat file A, there it is. And why did, in this case, it not translate lower to uppercase? Because I took out that tr command here. So all it's doing is just cutting the fields and putting them into the file. All right. So again, we could have had multiple pipes, and at any point, if we want to put that result into a file, we can use the output redirection. Supposing I wanted to keep appending to a file. So if I repeat this, it's going to overwrite that. But let's say instead of overwriting, I want to add to the bottom of this existing file. I can do that. How do I do that? I do it by repeating this, but instead of single greater than, I put two of these. By putting two of these output redirection symbols, it's going to append in case this file is already there. So now, when I cat file A, you'll see that it had the first set of data and then it repeated that because it just added to the end of that file. So two of these output redirection symbols result in appending. Note that if this file did not exist, it would simply create it. But if it exists, it goes at the bottom of that file and adds to that. Sometimes when we're looking for certain files, or putting any command for that matter, we may find that we make a mistake. So for example, let's say I was looking for file A and file B. Now in this case, it found file A because I had that, so no problem there. However, there is no file B, but I'm trying to look for file B. So I had good output in that it found one of the files I was looking for, and I have a bad output or error because it tries to find file B but does not find it. So if I wanted to capture this output into a file, I can redirect it and say out file. So what you would expect is whatever was going on the screen is now going to go into this file. However, see what happens. What happened here is the error message still ended up coming on the screen. Only the good output went into this, but the error message is still coming on the screen. And why is that? Because this greater than symbol only takes care of redirecting good output. It does not do anything with errors. So what if we wanted to say that please put errors in another file? We'd have to do something else. We'd have to say to greater than and give another file name. So now we're saying execute this command. Any good output that we have, put it in this file. Any bad output or errors that we have, put in this file. So now we get nothing on the screen. Why? Because if I look inside out file, it's going to show me the result, which is it was trying to look for file A and it found file A. So that good output or that good result is sitting inside out file. If I cat error file, that's where the error message went. So nothing came on the screen. The good output went in out file because of this redirection, and the errors went into the error file because of to greater than symbol. Sometimes you may want that both the good output as well as the bad output or the errors, you want both of these things going into one file. So there is a way you can do that. So the difference here would be that instead of giving a different file name, you would simply use n%1. And this is really pointing back to this file. So whatever file name you're putting here will contain both the good output as well as the errors. All right. So if I now look inside out file, it contains the good output and the error file. Another concept of redirection is that if I just did ls, of course, you're seeing that the result is coming on the screen. We also learned that if I say ls and I point this to file A, then what was going to come on the screen has now been redirected to file A. But we can cat file A and see the result, right? Sometimes, especially when you learn scripting, you'll see sometimes you don't want something to appear on the screen. You don't want it going and sitting in a file. You just want it sent into nothing. You want to suppress the output. One way of doing that is to send something to a file called dev null. Now, that's not a real file. That's not a file you can touch or do anything with or cat. So let me show you that. So if we do the ls command and we're redirecting, instead of a real file, which will end up being stored on our drive, we can send it to dev null. Now, if you remember from the first class, dev is a system directory which contains device-specific files and folders. Well, dev null is think of it as a black hole in the system, which means whatever you redirect to dev null will go into nothing. So I can't do cat dev null to look at it. It's going to be disappearing. Nothing. You can't access it. So if I do this, nothing comes on the screen and nothing is stored anywhere at this point. All right. So to send something to dev null means it'll disappear. So if you want sometimes error messages, you don't want it appearing anywhere, you can send them to dev null. Then any error messages just won't show. All right. And finally, we come into the here document concept. A here document is really a special code block. So let me go back here. So the here document is really a special code block where you can decide what marker you want to use to start something and end something. Whatever you put in between is going to be sent or input redirected into whatever command you put here. So in this case, I'm using the tr command. Where is the input going into the tr command? Previously, when we did the tr command, we input redirected a file name, right? But in this case, if we want to do something quickly and maybe in a script we want to just type something that's going to be fed into this command, then here document is another way of doing it. So what is this doing? This is saying all of the stuff that's typed up here is going to end up going into the tr command. This doesn't have to be the tr command always. It can be any command. So in this example, I'm sending this data into the sort command. So it's going to get sorted. Here, it's going to translate into uppercase because that's what I'm doing there. So let's go back and try it out. So I'm going to do a tr. I'm going to say translate everything that's lowercase into uppercase, and the input should come from what I'm going to type. Now what I'm typing here is the beginning, so it doesn't have to say EOF. It can be 1, 2, 3, it can be 9, it can be 100. Whatever you put here is the starting point. You have to end with the same thing. So now it's going to wait for me to type. So I'm typing apples, I'm typing grapes, I'm typing banana, I don't know, Babylon. As soon as I say EOF, that means that's the end. So it's going to take all this data and it's going to send it into the TR. There we go. So see how it translated all of that? And now I can do the same thing with a sort. So I'm saying sort. Input redirect is coming from what I'm going to type. So I'm typing apples, I'm typing grapes, and I'm typing cantaloupe. So right now, and I'm going to say EOF, which means that's my end. So now it actually sorted that. So I typed it in this order, but it's coming out in this order. Why? Because it took this data and input redirected it into the sort. So that's really what the here document is about. It allows you to send a block of code into a particular command, and that can be any command. In this case, this was tr, and in this case, it was sort. And that brings us to the end of filters, pipes, and redirection. Thank you.